Député d'Abitibi-Témiscamingue.
Monsieur le Président, le ministre des Anciens combattants dépense 4 millions en publicité au lieu de maintenir les bureaux de service aux anciens combattants ouverts.
C'est incroyable.
Et quand l'épouse d'un ancien combattant qui souffre d'un stress post-traumatique veut lui parler, il se sauve en courant. Ça, c'est du service. Puisqu'il n'y a aucun respect pour les anciens combattants, est-ce qu'il peut au moins mettre l'argent à la bonne place, c'est-à-dire dans les programmes, au lieu de le gaspiller dans ta propagande inutile?
Bonne question. Très raison.
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, the services and programs available to Canadian veterans are wide-ranging and among the best in the world. Veterans have access to a network of 4,800 mental health professionals nationwide, top-of-the-line medical treatment, and generous financial benefits, Mr. Speaker. It is important that we communicate with Canadian veterans to ensure they are aware of the services and program available to them.
Député d'Abitibi-Témiscamingue.
Jenny Mignot, l'épouse d'un ancien combattant atteint de stress post-traumatique, dénonce justement le manque d'appui aux familles des anciens combattants. C'est pour ça qu'elle est allée à la rencontre du ministre des Anciens combattants. Mais elle n'est pas la seule à se sentir mise de côté et oubliée par un gouvernement qui cesse d'utiliser les anciens combattants à des fins partisanes pour ensuite mieux couper dans leurs services. Est-ce que le ministre va cesser de sa campagne de relations publiques à la télévision et investir dans les programmes pour nos anciens combattants et leurs aidants naturels?
C'est clair.
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, each year, Veterans Affairs invests $3.5 billion, of which 90% goes directly to veterans services. Less than 1% of the total budget is spent on advertising, Mr. Speaker. This means that every dollar spent on advertising, Veterans Affairs spends on more than $800 on programs and benefits for veterans themselves, Mr. Speaker.
Questions, question orale. The Honourable Member for Burnaby, New Westminster.
Alors, après la stratégie qui consistait à arriver en retard dans la rencontre et ensuite insulter les anciens combattants, le ministre a adopté une nouvelle stratégie hier, se sauver en courant, alors que la conjointe d'un ancien combattant lui demandait de l'aide. Tout ce que les anciens combattants et leurs proches demandent, c'est de l'écoute et du respect. Ce que le ministre a été incapable de faire hier. C'est dégueulasse, Monsieur le Président. Alors, quand est-ce que le ministre va présenter ses excuses à Jennifer Mignot?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Veterans Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, in respect of the veterans' privacy, we cannot speak about any assistance, support, or contact that might have been provided to him or his family. That said, Mr. Speaker, veterans with PTSD are eligible for full suite of benefits and programs, including rehabilitation and financial support. As reported several weeks ago, Veterans Affairs has been in touch with this individual and his family at the Minister's directions.
The Honourable Member for Burnaby, New Westminster.
No apology is shameful, Mr. Speaker. There's no other way to put it. And what Canadians have seen from this minister and this government is a record of failure, mismanagement, and running full speed away from accountability. Now, Mr. Speaker, last January, the minister was caught belittling veterans. He spends millions of dollars on propaganda while closing offices that provide important personal services to veterans. And then yesterday, he completely ignored the spouse of a wounded soldier actually running away in the other direction. Mr. Speaker, when will this minister stop running away and agree to meet with veterans and their families?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, I can assure my honourable colleague and all members in this House, as they know full well, that the Minister is deeply concerned and cares about Canada's veterans. As a matter of fact, Canadians know full well that this government has a strong record when it comes to defending our veterans, when it comes to caring and providing the benefits and services. Exactly the reason, Mr. Speaker, we have invested almost $5 billion in new additional funding since coming to office. We will continue to stand up for Canada's veterans, even though the NDP and the Liberals will vote against every single initiative.
Honourable Member for Burnaby, New Westminster.
Let's be clear, the NDP will proudly vote against any Conservative budget that cuts veteran services, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Dartmouth, Cole Harbour.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The minister expects people to believe that he didn't know that Ms. Mignot was the spouse of a veteran, even though she said flat out, "I'm just a vet's spouse," while standing a few feet away. Instead of showing her basic courtesy, he and his staff bolted. Mr. Speaker, it's pathetic. Veterans and their families are tired of being treated with this level of disdain. Will the minister apologize to Ms. Mignot and veterans and families across this country?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, that member knows full well that Minister appeared at a committee meeting yesterday, and we had bells ringing for votes in the House. As a matter of fact, the Minister stayed extra time to appear before the committee, and there were only a few minutes left before we had to vote in the House. That being said, Mr. Speaker, Minister regularly travels throughout this country to meet with Canada's veterans, their families, as all members of this House, this side of the House, I can assure this House, that regularly meet and listen to the issues.
The Honourable Member for Dartmouth, Cole Harbour.
Mr. Speaker, Jenny Mignot was speaking for many across the country when she said, "You're forgetting us once more. We're nothing to you." You know, people in Dartmouth, Cole Harbour are feeling this kind of callous behaviour on behalf of this minister. Instead of blowing $4 million on ads claiming to respect veterans, why doesn't the minister actually respect veterans, invest in supporting them, and at least, heaven forbid, talk to them? When's the minister going to start taking veterans' issues seriously and apologize?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, veterans, stakeholders, members of Parliament, senators, and experts all have called on Veterans Affairs to improve its communication with Canadian veterans. If veterans are unaware of the programs and services available to them, they simply won't use them. With this new campaign, Veterans Affairs Canada will spend approximately 0.1% on advertising, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Nanaimo, Cowichan.
Mr. Speaker, the minister told the CanSec Defence Industry Conference that the Conservatives will be reviewing their final fighter jet options in the next few weeks. Yet another clue that the Conservatives will wait until after the House of Commons rises for the summer before announcing whether or not they will buy the F-35s. This project has been a disaster for long enough. Will the Conservatives let this House know their plans before running away in June?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Works.
Mr. Speaker, the National Fighter, the CF-18 replacement project is going according to plan, the 7-point plan. The results of this evaluation will be released in due course.
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Member for Nanaimo, Cowichan.
In due course. The entire process for buying the F-35s has been done in secret behind closed doors. Given how poorly it's gone, one would think that the Conservatives would now welcome a bit of openness. So a simple question. Will the decision, when it's announced, simply be what the Conservatives have wanted all along, a sole source purchase of the F-35s from Lockheed Martin?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, when we established the 7-point plan 2 years ago to replace the CF-18, we embarked on the most independent and transparent review in the history of Canada when it comes to military procurement. The independent panel ensured the evaluation of options was conducted by with the RCAF's engagement, and it was both rigorous and impartial. Over the next several weeks, we'll be carefully reviewing a number of options. We'll also be looking at classified and non-classified information to make sure that the information that is revealed to Canadians is sensitive to the bidders, and we'll remain committed to respecting taxpayers' dollars. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Monsieur le Président, quand l'épouse d'un ancien combattant atteint du syndrome de stress post-traumatique a tenté de parler au ministre des Anciens combattants, il a eu peur, puis il s'est sauvé en courant. Quand on demande au ministre de l'Emploi de rendre des comptes sur la gestion du programme des travailleurs étrangers temporaires, ce champion de l'absence de reddition de comptes nous dit que ce n'est pas de sa faute. C'est pas son programme. C'est la faute des libéraux, puis de tout le monde, sauf de lui. Quand le premier ministre transforme la nomination d'un juge à la Cour suprême en véritable fiasco, il fait semblant de ne pas savoir qu'il y avait des règles à respecter. Je ne sais pas pour vous, mais je commence à avoir une tendance celle d'un gouvernement qui refuse de voir face à la musique. Pendant que les libéraux dorment au gaz, les conservateurs peuvent être certains qu'à chaque fois qu'ils prendront des mauvaises décisions ou à chaque fois qu'ils manqueront de respect envers nos anciens combattants, ils trouveront le NPD sur son chemin.